Hey everyone, welcome to Garage Talk. As always, I'm Conrad. Let's go.
I'm Ted. It's time to rock and roll.
Hey Ted, we got a great guest today. Today in the garage, we have the mayor of Gas City,
Mr. Bill Rock.
Well, I had to bow on that one, and kind of look around. I didn't expect that kind of reception.
Oh yeah, that's the flavor we bring in the garage, man. We get really excited when we get people like you in here to
Definitely
to share your story. Can you give us some of your background?
Well, my background goes goes way back to basically in the concession area with rocks, tenderloins, elephant ears, corn dogs. Then produced an outdoor fishing and hunting program that was on the Outdoor Channel that reached 40 million homes. And it started out just as a small Time Warner Cable local program. And as we continued to do the program, we reached out to bigger sponsors, bigger networks, and eventually, actually the day that my dad passed was the first day that I got word from the Outdoor Channel that they were going to accept our program.
Oh, wow.
So I was glad to share that with him. Wasn't 10 minutes later, he went to the bathroom and he went on to meet a better place. And so I was excited that we were able to share that with him. He was excited too about it.
And that's your last name, but your dad was the Rock.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, him and my mom were what helped raise me. I mean, they had their hands full. They had to pull me back in here and there, and eventually they were able to get me to where I was as passionate for this city as they were, and passionate for people as they were, and so we're fortunate that we're able to look at things that we can develop in Gas City and the surrounding communities to make the quality of life, quality of place better for everybody.
You miss doing that show?
I missed the program, doing that part.
The hunting part of it?
The hunting, the fishing, the extreme sports, the traveling was a lot of fun, but then you had to come back and work. You had to come back. That's the part that was tedious, and you had to make sure it was right because you had sponsors that were putting a lot of money into you, and you had to make sure that they were mentioned right, and they were shown right, and we had to do things that we wanted to make sure that they were proud of being a sponsor for our program.
How hard was it to not curse?
Well, when you lost a nice fish or you missed a shot.
Because now we're on the internet, we can say, no, I'm not going to go into all the words we can say, but you lose a nice fish and...
There was a first time, there was a few times that, I saying a lot of adjectives under my breath with a smile. We do that now, as you know, being on the school board, and Ted being involved with Ole Miss Youth Sports, and me as a mayor. Sometimes we're smiling and saying a lot of adjectives.
In your head. Yes. Your inner monologue really gets going.
Yeah, I used to watch that show every week. That was a local people doing that, and it was...
watching it on the color console TV.
And you had to work with Inga.
House.
Yeah, Inga Hart North, and then we moved on after that to Wade in Temecula, California. But we reached out, and it was a lot of fun when we traveled, did the programs. You got to meet a lot of different people, and a funny thing that the show I think helped when we went up to Fort Wayne after I was elected mayor. We were sitting in a room with Fort Wayne Orthopedic, and they had a big Google of Gas City on the wall. And I'm talking to the CEO, Shelley Miller, there, and I noticed this Dr. Russell just kept looking at me. And I was getting a little, I kept out of the corner of my eye thinking, why does he keep looking at me like this? And finally he goes, did you used to do an outdoor fishing and hunting program? And so we talked about that, and the CEO, Shelley Miller, she goes, wait a minute, let's get back to where we're talking about Gas City. So
you're a celebrity, man.
That time.
That time. That one
now
time.
I'm a target.
But you're a moving target, though, right? Because you're always on the go.
Yeah, we stay busy.
Yeah.
We have a lot of good people around us, and that's what it takes. Couple good things that we're excited about that's going to be good for Gas City is they asked me to be the chair of the Indiana Economic Development for the state. So I get to see things there. And then we got a call to host the Redevelopment Association of Indiana. And normally they pick towns of like Bloomington, Columbus. And they said this is the first time they've reached out to a smaller city. But
Wow.
they're excited to talk about how a small city has been able to move forward, and they wanted me to speak on that. And I said, I'll give you 5 minutes, but I want to pull the people in that help do this. You know, we is how we use this, have a nice team around us, and so a lot of times if I'm off track, they're like my parents, as you just mentioned earlier, Ted. They pull me back in, and we work together to make this a better quality of place, a better quality of life.
It's a team.
Before we start discussing Boomtown 2.0, because I feel like we're on the verge of that second boom, what got you interested in politics? Because I'll tell you what, you have to either be a glutton for punishment or just really love your community. Which one is it?
Well,
a little bit of both?
passionate for the community, and I think a little bit of both there, probably less on the glutton for punishment, because as you know, and as you know, when you get involved, you're making decisions that you feel is the best for the community. And no, you're not trying to do something that will upset somebody, even though whatever you do, somebody is always going to complain about the progress. And I think Conrad mentioned to me earlier about a pothole. We just got a study on our streets from the state, and we're at 99.2%, 100% of course being the best. Our roads are good. The problem with that is when we apply for a community crossing grant, and which we just did for 1.5 million, they look at our statistics and say, why do you need that much when your streets are good? Well, we want to make sure we maintain them, that we keep them going, so that we don't have to come back 4 or 5 years from now and say, hey, we need $3 million.
Right.
So it's a good thing, but then again, it can be a bad thing because our streets are in great shape.
They
Our
are.
streets are. I'm really happy with the streets. My street, I live on a cul-de-sac, and it got paved not too long ago. I want to say 2 or 3 years ago, but it was like a huge thing. Like every road, it felt like, was getting paved, and people were so happy about it. When you see people happy, though, it's got to make you feel good.
Oh, right. Definitely. That's why we run for office. Is we are passionate for the city. You know, I truly, when people say, hey, I'm doing this for my kids, my grandkids, my great-grandkids, that's exactly why we're doing it. I want which I'll never see this happen, but my great-grandkids one day are going to be driving through and say, hey, my grandpa helped do this. And I always think if you get youth involved when they're young like that and they see that, they take ownership when they become adults. And that's kind of what you guys have done. You know, we volunteered when we were younger. And as we became adults, we want to make things better for our kids, our community, and our city.
And
speaking of kids and grandkids, okay, I know I see you all the time, your grandkids stuff. So, and you, the first lady of Gas City, how long have you guys been married?
Be 50 years, April 7th.
There you go. Congratulations early. And you got a couple great sons.
Yep.
They're involved.
Yep.
They do stuff behind the scenes that people don't know about, which there's a lot of people in Gas City that do stuff behind the scenes.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I've
they've
got a guy
been
that
doing
lives
it
across
for
the
a
street.
long time.
And that's key. I mean,
And
just
that's what makes our community special.
Yes.
Is if you need help and you reach out, most of the time people are going to say, hey, I'm there. I'll do what we can.
But you know, Conrad, speaking of roads, you know, he's got to keep them in good shape too, because all these golf carts around, right?
Oh man, you know, I'm a golf cart guy, and we're talking about upgrading because now I got the little one and it's 4 girls now. I'm way outvoted. I can't even convince them on what to eat for dinner. But we love cruising in the summer on the golf carts. What's that like? Do you sit back and think, man, I never thought Gas City was going to be filled with golf carts in the summertime.
Well, probably back when I was younger, not thinking of that, but
Yeah.
when I first got elected to the council, we were one of the first ones that mentioned that we wanted to bring the golf carts in. Gasoline prices had skyrocketed.
Oh, yeah.
Back in, and so we discussed it, but we wanted to make sure it was safe too. So, and each year we add a little more safety. We want to make sure that you get them inspected. We want to make sure that you use the proper turn signals. Now we want to make sure that the young ones, like you just talked, have a seat to be sitting in.
Yes.
And the accidents haven't been as bad as what some people thought they would be. I mean, we've had some, but there you have some. Whether you have a motorcycle or a bicycle or a vehicle,
Right.
You just got to put safety first.
Yep.
I can't believe no one's started an Uber golf cart business. Just picking people up and dropping them off. I've seen people kind of do it during Ducktail Run, but I think it'd work out like just running people up to CVS. You know, and you never know. The elderly, they need a ride sometimes. But what does, like, being mayor of this community, what's it mean to you?
Oh, it means a whole lot to me that we're able to watch things happen that we're a part of. You know, we're continuing to look for other opportunities to bring quality of life. The splash pad, I'll use that for example. We opened it up last year, probably should have waited until this year because people were talking there's mud around it, there's no place to sit. Well, it actually wasn't supposed to open until spring. Well, you do have a pavilion now. We're getting ready to put 6 benches down there. It'll be fenced, it'll be seated. It'll really look nice. And we're adding on to that because we've applied, as you mentioned, a 2.0 for a Ready 2.0 grant of $20 million to help put in a brand new YMCA down there at the Turner Park.
Yep.
We're also working with Indiana Westland on a Lilly grant to get 10 million or close to 10 million from the Lilly grant. That will put that all together. And then the YMCA would come over and manage it, run it, and we're hoping that if we get everything we want, it's got an indoor-outdoor pool.
Wow.
It's got a dome that will open and close, and those are what we've submitted to the Ready 2.0 and to the Lilly. And right now, we're on target. Every time that they meet, Gas City pops to the top on the program that
Wow.
we've got. In that way.
Man, you really do seem to be like a forward-thinking mayor. You got expectations of the future for Gas City, especially like with technology and stuff like that.
Yeah, you have to keep looking into the future. And of course, the future always outgrows us, it seems like. I mean, who would have thought back when I was a kid that we would have telephones that you can that you can watch yourself on a TV.
right.
You know, one of the things that always kind of got me out of trouble when I would come home late, my parents would say, "Why didn't you call?" Didn't have a quarter. Well, now there's no reason. Everybody, the technology has just far exceeded what my expectations would have been as a kid growing up. You always seen it with the TV shows like Jetsons and
Right, yeah.
You're gonna see those cars flying around pretty soon.
Man, that'd be crazy.
I thought that, like you said, the Jetsons, when I was watching that when I was a kid, I'm like, when I'm an adult, that'll probably be happening. We'll be flying. But it's funny because, you know, Bill mentioned he didn't have a quarter.
Yeah.
My
I
excuse
know.
was always, well, the phone booth, laundromat, somebody was in it.
Or
Like-
that too.
When Ramona would drop me off at the pool, the Gas City pool, they had that little phone booth right there, and I would call her collect and say, "This Grandma, I'm ready to come home." Click.
Yeah.
And she would get that. She wouldn't accept. She'd come down and get me. But I don't know if that's not illegal, is it?
No, I had Brandon and Brady would do the same thing after basketball practice or football practice. I said, just call collect.
Yep.
And I'll say, no, I'm not accepting the charges, and I'll be on my
I
way.
know where to
get
go.
you.
That's right.
Yeah. I can't believe phone booths are like in the Muncie Children's Museum. It blows my mind. Or the phone book. Like nobody has a phone book anymore.
Got Google.
Yeah, you got Google.
Well, I married Google, so.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. So the Wi-Fi going around town, that has been much needed.
Absolutely, and you talk about sometimes everybody wanting to complain about nothing. Alls I heard for probably the last 3 years is we need somebody to compete with Spectrum.
Yeah.
We finally found a company that was reputable. The high school uses them. That was one of the good references I got. It's fiber optic, it's faster, and all of a sudden I start getting calls. They're digging through my yard. Well, they're going to dig through the yard, but they'll fix it.
Right.
And it's funny because I had one guy call me, I'm complaining. They've dug through my yard. And I said, well, let me call the VP of Surf. So I called Steve the next day, and I said, told him the problem. He goes, well, tell him we'll fix them. You know, that won't be a problem. So I called the guy back. He goes, well, I want to pull my complaint. He goes, after I called you, I walked out there and I couldn't even tell where they'd been.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have a little
Yeah.
patience. You're going to have a choice now to where either pick from Spectrum or Surf, and that's what you should have. I think
Yeah.
it'll get Spectrum competitive, and it'll keep Surf competitive.
I feel like Spectrum got comfortable, and when you get comfortable, you get complacent, and the service was just too up and down. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't. I made the decision. Well, I don't want to say I did. I conferred with my better half, and I asked permission, and I got permission to switch to Surf. I love it. It's worked excellent for me. I really like. I'm so glad that we're in a community where we have options, and I think that's something that was way past needed.
I am going to switch over. I seen where they're putting the lines down on South 8th Street where I
Yeah.
live. And once they get it up and ready, I'm going to make that switch myself. Just we haven't gotten it on the south end yet,
Yeah.
right, all the way, but it's coming.
Well, I'll tell you right now, that kid he came up, knocked on the door, and he was like, I'm here to install. He was there like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I was up and ready to go. I was like, that's it? That's it. He's like, yep. I was like, cool.
They
Hooked
are.
up.
Those
Fast
guys
and-
are good.
Yeah, fast.
And they are.
internet
They're fast. And
speed.
like you said, you know, they dug my yard up, but next day, you can't tell nothing.
Yeah, and
I
if they
mean-
don't, they'll come back and fix
Yeah,
it.
yep.
They've been really reliable on that, and that's what we wanted, a company that would work with the people here. And again, have a little patience.
Right, yeah.
They will fix it. Don't need to call, they're digging through your yard, because they are. They're gonna dig through it, and but they're gonna fix it.
Well,
Yeah,
and that's like, you know, Conrad and I talked about before, you know, we see some of them guys, they're down a 3-foot, 4-foot hole. The ground's wet and muddy, and they got a shovel down there, and they're just
yeah,
going
they're
at
going
it.
to town, and
They're busy.
yeah, and
They
they're
do
very
good.
busy. I'm surprised that they're already on the south end of town as soon as they've been.
I think the quicker they go, and I believe they're even working with our music center now,
Okay.
trying to get the Wi-Fi and giving a bid on that. So, because that's going to be important too, that they have the
Yeah.
good Wi-Fi when this thing gets open and
Yeah.
ready to go. So,
and that's close, right?
getting closer. We're looking probably July that it should be completed. We'll probably do a lot of small little things in it to get the kinks worked out of it for our concessions, for the acoustics, for different things. We've got one we're working on to, our biggest show will be around October 5th. And if we get everything worked out with her agent, you know, so I said her, but I don't want to say who it is. If we get everything worked out, it's
Yeah.
going to be a unbelievable draw for the first big concert for Gas City's
Well,
performing art.
just getting that done, just like you said, we'll start out with small things, you know, work the kinks out. That's gonna be big,
Oh.
not just for Gas City.
Oh, no.
Yeah, all the surrounding areas.
Now, this is just my opinion, but I think Gas City having a cool nightlife like that, like concerts and the auditorium itself, I think it's going to draw people like doctors who have a place to work out there they're going to bring their families and they're going to bring their kids, and we're going to see a population explosion.
Oh, absolutely. We,
Yeah.
as you know, we're starting to do about 42 homes in this area. I just got good word on the IMI property, 189 acres. I was just out there, as I told you. I was running a little late because I slipped in the mud, had to go home and change. Didn't want to sit in your chairs all muddy in the rear end. But you're looking at probably another 240 to 280 homes that can go in there, half-acre lots, 12-acre blue-green lake that is spring-fed that goes year-round.
Yeah.
And we're getting the MOU, getting all the details. It's ours. It's just getting everything worked out that they're happy with on their end and that we're happy with on our end. And then we're going to start looking for contractors and housing developers, and any realtor can go. I know out here a few of the realtors were upset with me because Nicholson but he is an investor there.
Yes.
It's 3 investors. So yeah, naturally, he's going to be in the forefront. If any realtor wants to invest out this new property we're getting, bring your checkbook, and then you can sell and build homes how you want to do it. So
That's exciting.
And that, it's something else that's exciting, because that, okay, we're expanding east. There's a lot of places out there for, I don't know, maybe a Wendy's or a Long John Silver's, or
I know people are
that'll draw
always
'em in.
throwing fast food restaurants out at you, man. I'm not laughing at it, but sometimes I'm like, there's other things that are more important than that.
and it's funny they do that because there is a difference too between a chain and a franchise.
Right.
And we've been in 4 talks with Chick-fil-A because that's one of the ones I get hurt.
Yep.
Well, that is a franchise. So we have to find somebody that has food experience, food management. Chick-fil-A will not just, I don't care if you got $1 billion and you say, I want to buy into that franchise. They will not do that unless you've got food management, food service, and then we can get a Chick-fil-A. They're very interested in our city. We just got to find the right individual that can run it. Now, a chain, on the other hand, will come in, they build, they find the people to work there. Mentioning Wendy's, we have been in talks with them. They want closer to the auditorium, so, but.
Oh, I get that.
Right.
But you wouldn't believe the amount of, or people wouldn't believe the amount of letters that we've sent out, emails that we've sent out, phone calls we've made out to different, not just manufacturers, but retail, food. We want to be diversified so that if a distribution center went down, we don't have to depend on them completely.
Right.
So we've got medical, retail, distribution, small manufacturers, food. We just signed a deal with a Betty Ford clinic. It's 40 beds.
Wow.
They'll be creating 25 jobs, and they'll be doctors,
Yeah.
nurse practitioners, psychiatrists. So it's going to be high-paying jobs, and those homes that you were talking about,
Yeah.
Conrad, are these people are going to be able to purchase maybe out here at the new IMI property or right here behind Ted's area. But yeah, it's exciting times. We've got a lot of things happening.
I figured, that the property around the auditorium is going to be a hot commodity. I mean, I'd be shocked to not hear about a steak place wanting a piece
Oh,
of
absolutely.
that, And who doesn't love a good steak?
Especially right before a performance.
Absolutely.
And believe me, we've been in chats with about 4 of them. And as we get that thing opened or closer, but a lot of what the chains do in the steakhouses, they do a feasibility study, they do a logistics study, and it usually takes them 2 to 3 years. But I've been in talks with one that says, you know what, we need to move a little quicker than that because we see a lot of business and opportunities for our steakhouse or our restaurant. And
So much potential, that's.
And I'm sure I would love to be a fly on the wall when you're in those negotiations with businesses. because I'm sure it can get interesting.
Oh, it's very interesting sometimes.
And I'm sure they probably try and get tax exemptions like.
We've been fortunate.
Yeah.
Most of the property that we've had out east in our professional park, and they're all gone. We've sold every one of those properties. But we're not in the real estate business, so we're selling a lot of those places out there for like $30,000 an acre. No tax abatement. If you get that, but if you want to get a appraisal and pay the appraisal amount, then yeah, you can apply for a tax abatement. And most of them have agreed with it. They understand that that property right on the highway is worth much more than $30,000 an acre.
Mm-hmm.
And so I give them a choice: pay the appraisal cost or take a tax abatement. It's your choice. And so far, we've been fortunate not to have somebody walk away that's really interested. And yeah, we have several of them that are just taking the property and no abatement. So they pay taxes immediately the first year once they build, as opposed to stair-stepping.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got a little bit of, I tried my hardest to find some really good Gas City trivia. It's pretty hard. So I got a couple questions. See if you can, I didn't know it either. So the street Harrisburg, do you remember its original name?
I do not. That's the only thing I know is Harrisburg after the town Harrisburg.
Yeah. It was called East Street, and I was a little bit confused because it's on the west side of
That's
Gas
on the west side.
Apparently, it was called East Street because it was east of the railroad track.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
That's a good trivia. I would not. Now I know.
Yeah.
So I learned something on here at Garage
Well-
Sale. So
Well, I learned it too. I'm not going to act like I knew that because I wasn't there. But what about the original park board members that helped develop the park?
do I remember who they were?
Yeah, do you remember?
I'm going to guess Gosser,
Ding,
Patterson,
ding, 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 ding.
and got two of them right.
Yes, sir.
Who's the third one
I hope I'm not butchering this man's last name.
be? Okay.
Jacala?
Oh, Jockola.
Jocala.
Yes, Jockola.
That's it. So
I
it
went to
was
school
Walt.
with his son Walt.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Walt Gosser, Ron Pattison, and Walt Jocala.
Yep. And
And
Walt Jockola moved around. The one I went to school moved
Mm-hmm.
away in the 8th grade, so that's why I forgot about the Jockola
Okay.
guys.
Yeah.
The Gossers and the Pattisons have stuck around.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a lot, I think. I grew up over on Harrisburg and D, and there were some Pattisons like on the other side of, is it Short Street right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Gas City has such a long, rich history. The one thing I was always wondering, and I used to joke around with Eric Skeens about this because, he's always putting up fences all over.
Oh, yeah.
And every time we hit a rock, I would look over and say, "Hey, dude, we found the time capsule." And just get a kick out of it because where is that thing?
Who knows? I know they dug up City Hall, looked everywhere they could. Everybody tells me it's down by where the old Twin City Bank was, this and that. But you know what? We know where the new one is.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Well, I think that should be have you ever seen that, The Legend of Oak Island on Netflix where they try and find that gold? I think that needs to be the next documentary is find that original time capsule.
Yeah.
That would be wild because I'm really interested to see what's in that thing because I was trying to find like the very first mayor of Gas City, and I was shocked to see that nobody knew.
I don't know.
Yeah, Ted, Ted wasn't there, but
Yeah.
Ted, did you cast a vote back then?
Sure.
Yeah. So with everything coming up, before you know it, we're gonna have summertime. We're gonna have concerts in the park. What's that look like with the auditorium?
Oh, that looks good. We've worked out a deal with the guy that's going to manage it, not to have concerts on a Tuesday night.
Okay.
When the free concerts are down there at the concerts in the park. Again, that's quality of life. We want to continue. They'd stopped it once we came in. We restarted it. Our park board is running that now. We have the 4th of July festivity. We brought First Friday into Gas City. We got the Halloween harvest party that goes. We've got a beautiful Christmas parade, a ball drop. Our second annual ball drop was this year, and it went really well. And we're hoping that next year in the music center that we can have music going on through the daytime. We can have vendors set up inside, and then at midnight come out and have the ball drop right there.
That'd be cool.
You know, Teddy,
That would be.
that's one of the greatest things about Gas City is, people don't take it for granted, but there is so much to do in Gas City.
Oh, I know.
That's free.
Yep.
Free, and the community comes out
Yes.
because, that's what Gas City's about. Let's bring us together. Let's get out and have fun, have some laughs, and make some memories. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I can't stress it enough, quality of life, quality of place. And everybody goes, why didn't you have First Friday down to Park? Or why didn't you have this down to Park? Well, I want people coming by on 22 and 35, seeing our community together. And I'll tell you, the first time that we had the Christmas parade uptown, I'm standing there, and Pastor Atkinson comes up. He goes, Bill, I got this lady that wants to meet you. I said, sure, I'm here. Like I said, I'm a target. Come on up. And she was from Utah. And she came up and she goes, I just want to tell you, we were driving through this town 3 hours ago, and we pulled over. It reminds us of a Hallmark Christmas parade. And that right there was what the whole idea when we come in our fire department. Nick Baker, I can't say enough from him. This guy, we keep him so busy and keeping him doing all of our city workers put effort and time to make these things happen. But that was what I wanted out of it, was people that went by that said, you know what, this is a place that I wouldn't mind moving to one day or come back visiting. And we're working on a little 3-minute promo now that talking about the things we do that I want to send out to retailers, manufacturers, put a little QR code and they can hit on that, and for 2.5, 3 minutes, see what Gas City's like. I mean, we got a feeding zoo, we got concerts in the park, we got people that come down from all over to see that little zoo. Now we've got a dog park that's set up, and we're just trying to do everything we can and have that small town feel, that warm fuzzy feeling, but also have the bigger, like a bigger city of positives to do.
Yeah.
Well, that's like, at Christmas time, you drive down Main Street, the last 2 years, I'm like, that's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's so cool that it's in our community because it looks like the kind that you would see in a movie but we live this.
Yes, we live it.
We live it. And I'll tell you something else, Teddy. During the summer, I'm always down to Gas City Park. I'll take my dog walking on the Greenway. After that, she's been a good girl, go down to the dog park.
Absolutely. And that's what we wanted people to do. We want people to be able to have a place to take their pets and enjoy our park. Because when you go to our park, I mean, with the pond down there, with the things that we have going on, it's a beautiful park. And it bothers me sometimes when people say, oh, wow, you need to get rid of that feeding zoo. Those animals aren't treated well. You go down there and look at those animals. I'm telling you, if I was homeless, I'd sit right there and I'd eat all the carrots and stuff people bring down there and feed them animals. They are not unhealthy. They get checked once a month by a veterinarian. They are treated. They got a warm place to stay. They got straw in there. They get fed not only by the people, but also by farmers that bring hay down there,
Right.
and different things for them to eat.
I've seen a couple of those goats. They don't look like they miss many meals, man.
No.
They look like me. I don't miss many. I don't miss many myself.
Well, there's so many parents take their kids down there to that feeding zoo. There's times we go down there, there's 20, 30 kids down there, with their parents.
And they love it.
They do, and that's.
I had Savannah's first birthday party in a pavilion across the way from the.
We've
petting
had birthday
zoo.
parties
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, and Bill, it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't matter what you do. You're gonna have some naysayers,
You just overlook it.
and
Yep.
I have a mentor that always says, take the high road. There's less traffic up there.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of the way I've kind of tried to live my life. And I gotta say, I appreciate you taking the time to come hang out for a while.
I appreciate you guys having me over. I mean, Garage Talk,
Yeah,
greatest.
yeah.
And, I see that, each year you guys win that award. That's always
Yeah.
nice to have Gas City.
Back to back.
I think you guys were recipients of the Okra grant that the
Yep.
Lieutenant Governor came in and that's a funny story on that. When we got to 250 the first time by filling it out, well, I'm sitting at a ball game in Blackford County, and it's during the national anthem. But I seen on the phone it was Suzanne, the Lieutenant Governor, calling. So I hopped down, and Sandy goes, "You can't." I said, "Wait a minute, so I got to answer this." She goes, "Bill," she goes, "we found another 250,000, and when enough Gas City be interested." I go, "Well, Suzanne, let me think about this." Yes. So that's, so she was there helping us with $500,000 to some businesses that could use the help because of the COVID. And she's been outstanding for Gas City. She's helped us with a $700,000 sewer and water grant. She's helped us with $1.3 million on the auditorium, at $2.8 million, the $500,000. And when people go, "Who are you supporting for governor?" I can tell you right now,
Yeah.
I'm endorsing, because we have a hotline right to her office now as lieutenant governor. And if she becomes governor, it just means that much more for Gas City and our county.
That's amazing.
And it goes without saying, right, Ted, that we appreciate that, being that recipient for that, because that changed the trajectory of this podcast, because we're not only on Apple and Spotify, we're on YouTube, and the people who get a chance to listen to the podcast early can watch us now, and they're going to get to see your mug on YouTube.
Well, I don't know about that. I might lose you a few viewers there, Conrad, but,
I'm surely not, because I tell you what, people, I would, because when me and Ted had this idea, this brainchild, I was like thinking in my head, man, who's going to listen to us? And then I remembered people are nibshits.
they are.
And why not nibshit with us? Because we're nibshits too. So, but we appreciate what you did for us,
Yes,
and Suzanne
definitely.
did for us.
Let's give her the credit. Absolutely.
Yes. Well, I'm sure you were in there nudging her, saying, "Hey, our people could use that money as well."
Yeah.
So thank you, thank her,
Yep.
because without that, we couldn't have the nice new equipment. And
I will make a phone call. I'll see her in Plainfield Monday, and I'll let her know that how appreciative. And we've had a lot of people say that. So I always like to pass it on.
Yeah.
And she is, she loves it when she hears that. She's also big into the developmental disability people, and she works hard on that. So her heart's in the right place, and I hope the people in Indiana see that.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to meet her and talk to her for like a minute, and I could just tell she's a genuine person.
Absolutely.
So, and that goes a long way with the people in this community. And I can't be like, I feel blessed to be around Ted and then get that grant, and the people of Grant County voting us back to back podcast was pretty cool too.
Absolutely. That's a good award.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Nick Baker. Yeah, and I did want to bring up a couple things, because the fire department, the police department, for a small town, these guys are,
They go about.
they do. They go above and beyond. And another thing that really impressed me about this city is, man, if we lose power, man, it's
Not
back
very
on
long.
within a half hour.
Not very
I'm
long.
like, man, that's
We don't lose power for very long.
Not usually, no. It's been good. I'll knock on wood here and hope that doesn't.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, they're great.
they are. It is.
They take, like through the summertime, they'll go through the alleys, they'll look at the lines that might have tree limbs or something that could obstruct it later, and they stay proactive with that. Let's get those down. Let's not take let them grow over, and I think that helps. But they're good, they're willing to get out there. And I always stick up for them because I said, a lot of times when somebody complains about, oh, they didn't move the snow here, they didn't do that, I said, you know what? While we're in bed,
They're
warm, covered up, they're out there doing that.
Yep.
And I know it's, so I stick up for them a lot because they do the best they can.
Right.
Yeah, so.
And that's all. Anybody should ask of anybody else. Do the best you can. I mean, but like we mentioned, a lot of times they go above and beyond. They really do. But that's, I mean, and people don't understand, you've talked about the team you have, you have to appoint department heads and all this stuff. So that's got to be taxing on you. And like I said, I'm sure you get blowback, but hey.
Especially when we first came into office, because some of the people that we replaced and then put people that I felt were behind what I needed to make it happen. And so.
And why wouldn't you put those people in place?
Absolutely.
That means success for you as a mayor to lead this. I mean, it just makes sense. When I remember when it was all going on, I was like, well, why wouldn't he put people in? He's also a businessman. He knows what he's doing. I mean, he's gonna put people that's gonna make him successful. And you're getting reelected, right?
I did. So I did get reelected.
So then there it is. Proof's in the pudding.
Yep.
Pretty much.
That's got to make
So
you
they
feel
got to
good.
put up with me 4 more years.
And I like that. You got 4 more years with me, and it's 4 more years of success, right?
Yeah, you betcha.
That's right.
But then, okay, so how many different commissions do we have in the city? You've got your redevelopment commission, or
You got the Board of Works, the Redevelopment Commission, and the EDC, which is they don't meet much. Like right now, we're getting ready to have them meet at the next meeting. I'm trying to think of the Department of, but anyway, they never meet. But we have an abatement we have to go through because the new restaurant is going up. And by law, if it's a old restaurant and then you build a new, you are not allowed a tax abatement unless you establish another ordinance. Even though they're increasing the assessed valuation, I think it's a silly law, but we have to have the EDC meet, the Development Corporation, whatever it is, because the Redevelopment Corporation did. But those are the main 3 that we go. Of course, the council is elected, so we're fortunate this time that we have some individuals on the council that believe in what we're doing.
Yep.
And that makes it easier when you approach the council. We listen to whenever they say, hey, have you tried it this way? We don't believe in can'ts, we believe in cans. Show me how we can do it. Don't
Right.
tell me we can't do it. Because we're going to do it. We just got to figure out how to do it.
And there's always 5 different ways to get to that end point.
and you forgot one of your trivia questions. You should have asked him where the name B&B came from.
Where did B&B come from?
Bill and Barb Rock.
All right.
It was actually when they first bought it, it was called the Hop.
Right. Yeah, I can remember that.
And
Yep.
then they sold it, and
The
then
Hop?
they got it back at the Hobnob.
Okay. Oh,
They had
Hobnob.
Hobnob. They had 2, one in Fairmount
Yep.
and one in Gas City. They built the one in Gas City. I think I was a senior in high school, when we built that. My dad, my Uncle Harley, they had me whenever I'd be out of school, like the hod carrier, because getting the bricks there. But they had some good people there to build it. And
where'd the birth of the Tenderloin come from?
that came from way back, my Uncle Jimmy in Napanee. My dad hopped on a train when he was 13. Imagine this. I mean, and came to Indiana. And my Uncle Jimmy had a restaurant north in the Napanee area. And he did the hand-breaded tenderloin. And, of course, my dad went to work for him and then brought the business with here. So that's where the tenderloins come from. In our, other people take claim to fame, different places. But I'm telling you right now, it started back with my Uncle Jimmy in Napanee and with his restaurants. So.
And how many concession traders has that turned into you?
Sandy and I have 4, and my sister and Donnie, my brother-in-law Lozier, they have 1. They did have 2, but they just sold 1. They don't come to the same fairs. We normally only pull out our 4 concessions over Ducktail and James Dean. Most of the time we'll take out 2, the Tenderloin wagon, then also the Elephant Ear wagon. And so we'll have 2 out at a time.
Okay.
But during the Ducktail, James Dean, we bring all 4 out.
Tenderloin's an Indiana thing, because I lived out of state, and I was in a restaurant, and I was like, "You guys don't have a tenderloin?" And they were like, "A what?" Like, a tenderloin?
They don't.
No. And I tried to describe it, and that made it even worse. But no, I didn't end up getting a tenderloin.
And I can say this because somebody had it on social media. I didn't respond. The only place you can get original tenderloin, they said someplace. And I said, that is not, I wanted to respond. I stayed away. We get to
let them know here.
Pork. We cut, cube, bread our own tenderloins, and have the whole time. It's not a fritter. It's a real thing. It's a center cut of pork, like the filet mignon of a beef, but in the hog. And it's so somebody said that in town, the only one, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going there.
I've never really, I knew that you could get a pork fritter from Lance's back, in that little box. I've never heard. Yeah, that's what I've never heard anybody say, I'd like me a good old pork fritter. It's a tenderloin. You need a tenderloin, not that. Yeah, man.
And I used to eat the peach pie too.
That's come home from school, you have something real quick.
Yeah.
And
that was that and SpaghettiOs, man. I'd kill a can of SpaghettiOs.
Even Spam, I eat that too. So.
We got to have a spam and eggs.
Yeah. We got to go back a couple years.
Yeah, okay.
I can remember back in the day, because you mentioned your sister and Donnie. Back in your slow pitch softball playing days, what was that like?
Yeah, you had a squad.
We were pretty good. Matter of fact, in the time capsule, the new one, not the one they can't find, we played for Chuggamuck, and we won several districts, semi-states, and would finish about second in the state. It seems like every year. And one year we were fortunate enough to get over the top, but we won a lot of ball games and. We were even fortunate back when I coached in Babe Ruth that we took an all-star team and finished second in the state back to back. We just couldn't beat the team from, I think it was Hamilton. It was a pretty big school that they had, but we'd always be right in there, but we'd always finish. So that was always fun too, to have those 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds to play, and then to watch them get in high school, and half of them didn't play, or they didn't get a chance to play. I'm thinking, these kids were competing with the whole state, not just town and country and stuff. This was when you played Babe Ruth. There was no town and country. It was all together.
Everybody.
So
why do you think kids aren't going out for sports nowadays? Too many other opportunities?
I think so. I think, as
options.
Just like the computer games, different things that they can set in there and play all day long. I don't think they're getting out and doing the things that like kids did that when we were growing up. And not to knock them, I guess that's their generation now,
Right.
but I think the competitive juice is not quite there too
Yeah, we
because of
talked about it.
travel ball, my opinion, because now you're playing with kids from all around.
Right.
They become your buddies. So I don't know if the drive, and I think that's what it takes in anybody, is there. It was fun watching our football team this year and our basketball team, tennis teams. It seems like these kids are doing pretty well with some drive, but I think they could even have more drive. So,
Yeah,
I agree.
no.
I agree, and that's
I get that. I get that because, you know, wanting, like, when you run a 40-yard dash, you don't run that 40-yard dash like when you're racing racing someone. You'll run even harder. And, you know, these kids, they are friends. They all know each other inside and out. And when you go up against each other, there's a little piece of you that's like, oh, that's my buddy.
yeah, it's not I don't know. I know back, and as Ted said about the slow pitch softball days that we played. I mean, when we got in between that fence line, we didn't play with we played with our group, and it was do what we could to win ball games. And,
Yep.
and you know, if it meant hitting the ball to the right side of the infield to score somebody, we're going to do that. And I think you see that gone now. It's a fence or nothing sometimes.
Yep.
And it's, you know, I've seen them where you see a long fly ball out and left, and you'll see the kid halfway down the line instead of tagging with, you know,
Yeah.
only one out or no
Right.
outs,
Yes.
and then they don't score. So those are little things that
The
that-
fundamentals.
the fundamentals that I think they need to have to be more competitive, even though they're competitive, but more competitive.
more. Yeah,
You don't want to be
agree.
just the best in your county. You want to be the best in the state.
Yes.
Well, we had somebody on the podcast once, and they referred to it was a term called Gas City Good, and it's a term that I was like, man, it's a little bit true, and I hate to hear it though. I hate to hear it. You're good for Gas City, and it's not a fun term to be labeled. You want to kick everybody's ass, not just the counties. You want to.
Yeah, I don't want to be just the best in
Yeah.
our school.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the best in our city.
Yeah.
Down at the Little League field or whatever. Oh, I'm the best one there. No, you've got the potential to be even better.
Even better and go even further.
Yeah.
And that's it's interesting. Bill's talking about back when he was coaching Babe Ruth. Toss that away for a few years, and look what your son did with a couple Little League teams winning state championships.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a good team. That was.
Oh, yeah,
All
they
the
should have
coaches
been
were
better
well
when they
coached,
got
yep.
to high school.
Oh yeah, that's.
So that always is disappointing when you see those kids compete in the state
Yep.
Yeah.
and they can't be competitive in the CIC.
Yeah.
Yep.
I noticed, when my daughter was in middle school, they had a really strong group of girls that played basketball. And by the time they were seniors, only 2 of those girls played.
Yeah.
And I guess it's part of life, part of kids growing up. They find boys, they find cars. Well, they're not interested in getting their license like they used to be, but
Yeah.
but it's other things,
Yeah.
And I think that's why we got to work with every single one, because you don't know which one's going to stick with it.
You don't.
You really don't. You really
You
don't.
want to teach them the fundamentals. Maybe they're not going to win every game, but you want them in a position they have an opportunity to win that game.
Right.
And the fundamentals is where you get that at. Backing up the right throw, hitting the ball to the right side or left
Exactly.
side, whatever you need to do. Laying down a bunt.
I was going to say that. Lay down a bunt.
Yeah.
Small ball.
Small ball.
Small ball.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff's not taught anymore. Like you said, you got to back this guy up, or
Yeah, they
it's
stand.
like baseball. I mean, every pitch,
You
all
gotta
nine
teach
of
somebody.
you players got somewhere to be, other than the catcher.
Yeah.
Do your job.
Do your job.
Yeah, how many times do you see a kid follow a shot nowadays?
Very
Anymore.
often.
Yeah.
Not that much.
I don't think it's taught.
Or
nowadays.
block out.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a lot of
Yeah.
times you don't have to be the tallest kid or
Right.
or the highest jumper. If you got the block out, you're going to get that rebound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or he's going over your
Absolutely.
It's
back.
coming over your back, yeah, and I say, it's just like life. You're not going to win all the time, but
Be
hey,
prepared.
learn how.
Well,
Learn
you're
how
not-
to lose.
You're not gonna win if you don't try. You miss 100% of the shots you do not take. That's what Michael Jordan said, not
Yep.
me. But Mayor, Bill, thank you so much for coming on,
Yes, we
taking the
appreciate
time.
it.
We know you're a busy man, and stay busy.
I got a game
Right?
to go to for my
Yeah,
grandson
let's
at
do
3
it.
o'clock.
Enjoy that.
All
Enjoy
right,
that.
man, I do. I do.
Thanks, Bill.
Hey, thank
Appreciate
you
it.
guys.
We'll
Appreciate
see
you
everyone
guys.
later.
Thank you, sir. So